Welcome to Transnational Competition Law course, and dear learner, today we are going to discuss the enforcement of the competition remedies. As you can well recall, dear learner and viewer, that the last lecture was devoted to the nature of the competition remedies and the kinds and classification of the competition remedies. Our discussion on the nature of the competition remedies have made us conversant with the entire problematic of the competition remedies, the challenges and the hurdles and hiccups we generally try to experience while thrashing out the competition remedies in matters of the enforcement of extraterritorial application of competition law and transnational competition law. In the last lecture, we have also tried to cull out in a very precise manner as to what is the range and variety of the kinds of remedies, and we have dwelled on the aspect of the structural remedies and the behavioral remedies, not only understanding as to what is meant by the structural competition remedies and the behavioral competition remedies, we compared and contrast and brought out the differences, and we have also considered the relative merits and demerits of both the remedies. We have also underlined as to what kind of the remedies happens to be more successful for the enforcement of extraterritorial application of the competition law, and which remedy happens to be difficult and time taking in matters of extraterritorial application of competition law. Today, dear learner, we will try to understand the strategies for the competition remedies, because the problems which have cropped up in the enforcement of the competition remedies in matters of structural remedies and the behavioral remedies essentially and eventually leads to honing out of the strategies for the competition remedies, and then we will try to see that as to what are the objectives of the competition remedies, what are the parameters, what are the benchmarks, or in other words, we can say that as there is something wrong or is there something missing in the very objective of the competition remedies, and that is why we see, despite our classification to the structural remedies, behavioral remedies, or the conduct remedies, in other words, where the fault line lies in entire ushering or entire restorative process of the competition into the market. With this, dear learner, we will straightway switch over to the first dimension in the today's lecture, and that relates to the objective of the competition remedies. While considering the nature of competition remedies, kinds and classification of competition remedies, in a similar vein, we can understand the objective of the competition remedies. Dear learner and viewer, the aim and objective of the competition remedies in addressing antitrust infringement or the competition law infringement broadly acquire three dimensions, and the three point of view or angles. One happens to be the restorative, another happens to be the preventive, and the third happens to be competitive. If we really look at the objectives of the competition remedies, and if we try to understand what exactly we mean and it what is the import of the restorative competition remedies, preventive competition remedies, and the competitive remedies, then we find that at no less point the combined merits of restorative, preventive, and the competitive merits or stand alone restorative, stand alone preventive, and stand alone competitive remedies are very important to realize the broad goalpost of the competition remedies or the objectives of the competition remedies or the aims of the competition remedies. In that respect, it becomes very important to understand as to what we mean to say by saying restorative aim of the competition remedies. The restorative aim of the competition remedies primarily focus for correction the effect caused by the infringement, neutralizing anti-competitive effect in retrospect, in contemporary, and in prospective manner, meaning thereby the kinds of the infringement we generally find in the competition law by the firms in the market under any kind of a kind and categories of the anti-competitive conduct and behavior, and how these infringement of the basic objective of the competition law happens to have a very neutralizing and tantalizing effect on anti-competitive behavior in the market. Number three, how the tantalizing effect of the anti-competitive behavior in the market in retrospective, in present market situation, and has a futuristic tendency that has to be clearly envisioned, and then only the very objective of the competition remedies by way of the entire restorative process or the restorative aim of the competition remedies can be fulfilled. As we noted in the nature of the competition remedies, that the basic characteristics and nature of the competition remedies is to restore the market and restore the sense of competition and the sensitivities of the market which have been thrown to some kind of a misconduct which are anti-competitive in nature are to be corrected at a very pointed time so that it should not have some very cascading effect on the market. The other kind of the objective of the competition remedies happens to be preventive, and thus the preventive aim of the competition remedies try to seek and try to prevent futuristic anti-competitive conduct It's a kind of an anticipatory measure. It's a kind of an anticipatory aim of the competition remedies to keep a vigilance and watch to the tendencies and the propensities of the firms in the market and try to visualize that what are the future ramifications of anti-competitive conduct of any firm or the group of firms, and then the objective of the preventive aim of the competition remedies directly hit to that aspect, and then it tries to create a kind of a system of incentive and disincentive and try to forge a kind of an capacity and ability to engage the firms in a meaningful manner so that they can resist from any kind of an anti-competitive conduct which have some futuristic ramifications, and that can well be undertaken under the preventive aim of the competition remedies. The third kinds of the competitive remedies, or the third objective of the competition remedies, happens to be, you can say, to be competitive, or you cannot say competitive because that goes without saying that the very purpose of the competition remedies is the restoration of the competition in the market. But what we can possibly say to the third dimensions of the objective of the competition remedy is that how we can devise means and ways to have an effective competition restoration. Having said that, the purpose of the competition remedies is to restore competitiveness will be easier to be said, but very difficult to be implemented. And that's why the objective of the competition remedies should strike directly that what can be the effective competition restorative mechanism which can dislodge anti-competitive market situation, which can establish a very foolproof system of infringing conduct to be located, to be brought to the book, and then only we can say with great degree of confidence that the purpose and the nature of the competition remedy, which happens to be the restoration of competition, but in what ways and methods we will be able to restore the competition in the market, how best we can have a kind of a mechanism of infringing conduct, how we will be able to look at and have a very timely dislodging of the anti-competitive market situations, and then only we can have a kind of a restorative and effective, and then only we can have a restorative and preventive objective of the competition law to be fulfilled in a better way. Having understood the objective of the competition remedies in terms of restorative, preventive, and competitive remedies, we will try to see that how the antitrust remedies or the competition remedies, if we carefully peruse all the documents or literature on that point, then we try to summarize for our ready understanding and ready reckoning about that there are three major requirements to constrain any competition agencies or authority to exercise its remedial power, and that three key requirements must be understood as we have understood all these three requirements of the objective of competition remedies as restorative, preventive, and competitive. We have to equally understand by a perusal of all the documents on the subject of the competition remedies that while imposing the competition remedies, the three requirements must be thrashed out in such a manner that we find that any competition authority or agency or the tribunal, while exercising the remedial power, happens to go into the practical side of it and the implementable sides of the competition remedies. Here, what we wanted to say, dear learner and viewers, the prime purpose of the competition remedies is to promote number one, effectiveness, number two, proportionality, and number three is the remedial package of the competition infringement. Having said so, we will try to define as to what constitutes the effectiveness of the competition remedies. Effectiveness here means that the competition remedies must effectively bring the infringement to an end. If the infringement is likely to perpetuate in the market, and if any competition law or agency have been failing miserably in arresting the pernicious tendency of the infringement of the competition law in the market, then all kind of the anti-competitive conduct, all kind of illegalities and aberrations adopted by the firms in the market, it becomes very difficult to prevent them. It becomes very difficult to avoid their reputation in the market. And in that sense, from the standpoint of view of the prosecution, from the point of view of the administration of competition law, and from the point of view the effective enforcement of the competition law, there is these three aspects, and first and the foremost, that the effectiveness of the competition remedies have to be understood in its proper context. The second aspect which requires our attention as a student, as a teacher, or as a learner, or for that matter, the second consideration which requires due attention and due diligence by the competition administrative authorities or agencies relates to the proportionality. And when we say about the competition remedies and the proportionality, then it simply enunciates that the competition remedies must not only be appropriate, but it should be proportionate to the infringement committed by the firms, and under the proportionality remedies, we try to ensure that the remedies advanced by the competition agency should not exceed to the level of the infringement, to the level of the violation, and there should be a perfect symmetry and balance in understanding the magnitude of the competition behavior and bringing any anti-competitive behavior to the book and then advancing a remedy for competition remedies in due proportion. That is something very important from the point of view of the competition remedies. Then the third dimension happens to be the remedial in character, that the entire remedial packages which are going to be handed down by the competition agencies have a reasonable nexus and, and an intelligible differentiate with the kind of the infringement and a direct connection of the infringement and targeting a specific conduct of any competition violation are to be seen in a totality of the circumstances while reaching to an effective competition remedies. Thus, what we see under the discussion of the objective of the competition remedies, that the difficulties which we have noticed in the behavioral remedies, especially in the area of the information and communication technology and digitalization of the market, we can say with some certainty that in the spectrum of the competition remedies, we require an iterative and flexible approach by adopting an innovative remedy design, innovative and inventive or a reinventive of the entire design for the remedy, competition remedy. And this process is something which involves a set of implementing remedies through an open procedure which eventually facilitate testing at one hand and designing on the other hand and redesigning in the entire dimensions of the nature, purpose, aims, objective of the competition remedies, and then only the entire competition remedies can strike out in a more iterative sense and can tackle the present challenges of the digital market, information asymmetries, resource constraints, and platform intricacies. And taken as a whole, we can say that the complexities which are involved in intervening in the product design and business model of a given firm and the market and the competition laws, its ethos and values. In case of violation, the competition remedies must be attuned to the satisfaction of not only the parties but the market and the competition. With this, dear learner, I hope that today's discussion on the objective of the competition remedies will be further aiding to our understanding to competition remedies, especially in terms of extraterritorial application of competition law and transnational application of competition law. With this, I conclude and I wish a happy learning. Thank you very much.